Today's Nigeria does not let you do law the way law is meant to be done. Today's Nigeria turns law on its face. Today's Nigeria is governed by technicalities as against the essence of what the law is meant to be. Today's Nigeria, I'm sorry to say, is flawed. And that's why the media is the fourth estate of the realm. The media is the watchdog of those in power. And the media, if you ask me, is the only saving grace that today's Nigeria has got. Because if you take away the media from today's Nigeria, the only means of expression left to the average Nigerian is to revolt.
Welcome to another edition of the Let's Talk Show. My name is Elvis Vitalis, and of course, the Let's Talk Show brings you up to speed with all of the creatives we have in the landmass of Port Harcourt and how much effort they are putting in their careers and how far they have gone. So today's edition, obviously, will be bringing us close to an individual who is a creative, and he is around the law circumference. He's doing a lot of things around the creative industry, which includes becoming a broadcaster and, of course, a renowned lawyer. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the show today, I have with me a mentor, a friend, a boss. I don't know. There are so many things I could keep going on and on this journey about this individual. He is amazing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, join me as I make welcome my guest for today's show, Mr. Excel Uwaezuoke, Esquire.
Okay, thank you very much, Elvis. The surname is pronounced Uwaezuoke. I never really paid close attention to my surname and its pronunciation until my dad visited River State one time, and we met with some people who are from River State, and he had to introduce the family to them, and he was very careful about the pronunciation. And I said to myself from that moment, I think I need to pay extra attention to this surname. So it's Uwaezuoke. Thank you, Uwaezuoke. So we're proudly Igbo, you know. So that's it. Uwaezuoke. That's the surname. Yeah.
It feels so good to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
First off, you're looking amazing on your outfit.
Thank you.
Whoever made this piece requires a lot.
Shout out to Boma for making this one happen. You know, yeah, great guy.
Your creativity. So let's dive into the conversation properly. Looking at your profile and everything that deals with becoming an influencer. Let me use the word an influencer because you're amongst those persons that tend to lend your voice out to the public for the right reasons to correct so many wrongs that has to do with morals, and of course to preach peace every day on radio. And the fact that you have to juggle two very tedious careers, which means you being a lawyer and at the same time being a broadcaster, how do you tend to balance the both of them?
Okay, first of all, I'll start by saying that life is all about balance, you know. At first, I wanted to really abandon law 100% and focus on broadcasting, you know, but I think life in itself had its own plans for me. So, doing law to the extent I did, which was going to law school, getting called to bar, you know, like I said, I want to run away. But the race was definitely with an end point. The end point was when I met someone who actually talked to me about reshaping my decision. I had friends who would really talk to me in the past about changing the narrative. I have friends like Philip Ekechi, he's an engineer with Clyde Broadcast West Africa. You know, he's been a friend from way back. And he said to me, bro, you need to balance this whole stuff. I have friends like Ike Naoki Nanya, right? He's in New York, and he's one person who, while in Nigeria, really, he taught me the ropes, you know. And beyond that, it said to me, don't let this cool stuff go to waste. And above all, to honor the memory of my late mother, you know, she really wanted me to do this law thing, right? And I also wanted to do it. But my reason got a bit sarcastic towards the end, because I just wanted to know what makes these lawyers feel so proud, you know? And when I stepped in and smashed my papers at one sitting all day, I'm like, okay, so what's there about you? What's it about you guys? You know, so for me, it's now a mix of the fun side to me and the very serious side to me. If you look at my profile on Google, you'd see that I talked about being able to balance the fun side to life and the serious side to life. So that for me is the meeting point between the two. So on radio, I see the fun side because I could switch from being very serious to being crazy. But if it has to do with law, which I practice majorly on the basis of soliciting and not litigation, right? Squarely. When I say litigation squarely, I don't go to court. I don't appear in court for now, right? But I could draft documents. I could, prepare documents, and so I could give legal advice. And another part that many persons are not aware of, I'm also into ADR, that's alternative dispute resolution, right? Yes, and I currently serve as the head of operations for the mediation place Port Harcourt. So all of that is what I do, and I just see both of them as a bit of an intersection that works for me, basically. Yeah.
All right. So, being such a respected lawyer, what draws you so deeply into the world of radio? That's number one question. And number two is there any hidden passion here that rivals the both?
Okay. Passion that rivals both. I'll start from there with passion for my family.
Okay.
I love my family. I give my everything for my family. I am doing what I am doing today because of my family, right? My father's house, my mother was around, was close knit. So we lived in such a way that you cannot see one without the other, right? And then mom's demise happened in 2016, and dad had to remarry in 2020, but it still hasn't taken it away. That I step out. If there's anything that would rival my passion for these two, that's law and radio. It would be love for my family. Then to answer there was the first question you asked, which was that the first part of the question.
Being such as a respected lawyer, what draws you so deeply into the world of radio?
Awesome. So I'll quickly summarize my radio story. So growing up, we were not able to afford the TV like we know it, you know, because my parents, one, both of them were teachers. Two, as teachers, they were not earning so wonderfully much. I want to thank my dad for being outstanding. He was able to create the balance for us. He was able to show us that you might not have everything materially, right? But if you have everything in your mind, that's the M that matters. Okay, not materialistic earnings, not money per se, but if your mind is worked on, that's a big plus for you. Do you understand? So that was the first thing. The fact that we couldn't afford everything helped me lean more towards what we could afford, and that was the radio. Right? So as a child, I grew to love the radio. As a child, I grew to enjoy listening to the radio. And so when I got done, in fact, it was in my fourth year I started working on radio as a law student. I would travel weekends to Umuahia, capital of Abia State, from Abia State University to go present a campus program. Then we used to call it Love FM Campus Gist. Later metamorphosed to Campus Nigeria, Campus Info Nigeria. I put that group together. So traveling from school, then I had friends that would get to, yab me, but that's a story for another day. But I knew what I was looking for. I knew I'd found an expression on radio. I pursued that expression. I'm glad to say, I don't think I'm doing badly today. I don't think I'm doing badly today. So that for me is the very off point. If I am asked any day, anywhere, how come you studied law but you're doing this? Yeah, I just discovered that I found expression, I found happiness doing radio, right? Because when I do radio, this is what I do, Elvis. I connect to my past, right? And it helps me drive even further into the future. Because if I can see what radio did for me as a child, growing up, I learned my words on radio. All I had to do was seek clarification from my parents to ask, what does this word mean? Then I started getting my first set of dictionaries and the rest of them. So I literally grew through radio. And funny part, my younger brother would always dismantle every radio that we had to buy back in the day. Well, thanks to heaven, today he's an engineer in Lagos. Wow. Yeah, so from dismantling radios, he's now dismantling aircrafts, right? So that's life.
This is a lot of stories here. Wow. So now, between the dual roles you play, which career have you found to have the greater power in shaping lives, and why?
Whew. I'll be very realistic here. I'll say it's the radio, right? I would have gone for the law side to me, but there is something about it. I cannot deny today's Nigeria. Today's Nigeria does not let you do law the way law is meant to be done. Today's Nigeria turns law on its face. Today's Nigeria is governed by technicalities as against the essence of what the law is meant to be. Today's Nigeria, I'm sorry to say, is flawed. And that's why the media is the fourth estate of the realm. The media is the watchdog of those in power. Yeah. And the media, if you ask me, is the only saving grace that today's Nigeria has got. Because if you take away the media from today's Nigeria, the only means of expression left to the average Nigerian is to revolt. Sure. And if there's a revolt in the country today, we know what it's. So the best of it for me right now is the media. Although I bring a bit of my lawyering into radio. That's why I hear my callers reach out and say, Excel, you're a lawyer. You should know that. You understand? So create the balance from there. You know, yeah.
So now, balancing the law and the broadcasting, which happens to be two demanding worlds from each other, how do you manage to excel in both without stealing the spotlight?
Stealing the spotlight.
Because of course, so many persons know you on radio as Excel, the radio person, and of course, outside the radio, a very few persons know you as a lawyer. So how then do you tend to balance the both without everybody's expecting you to be what name exactly should we call him? Because he's on radio, he's a lawyer, without stealing the spotlight from the both. What name should they call you?
Just call me Excel, because the word Excel in itself says a lot about my person. It says a lot about my story. The ability to break bounds, the ability to conquer, the ability to go beyond set barriers is it for me. You understand? So I would say I want to be known for doing well at the two, right? I believe in breaking protocols. One of my mottos in life is God above protocol. Okay, because I believe that my Igbo name is Uwaezuoke. Now, what does Uwaezuoke mean? The road path created by God, right? And if God is to create a road path for you, it can't be stopped. The most you have is bends, but you can never have an end. The end is when he says there will be an end. You understand? So for the both fields, if I'm to be asked, like, what do I want to be known for on both sides, I would say, let me have the good share of lawyering, and let me have the good share of being on radio, because both ways I'm impacting lives, even if not in the same way or using the same medium, but I'm impacting lives in some very, very effective way, and I don't take any of them for granted, which is why, in addition to law, I have the ADR side to me with the mediation place Port Harcourt. So that helps me create quite a balance, because law in itself is one extreme, radio is another extreme. So ADR for me is the midpoint. That's alternative dispute resolution. Yeah.
So just as your name rightly says, excel, which means you can actually excel at anything. Are we looking forward to you juggling the third career which we don't know, or is there something else you're doing behind the scene that we don't know? I mean, beyond the courtroom and the studio, what other side of you should we know?
Music.
Eh?
Yes. Yes, I know you're surprised. I play the piano very well. Yes. So listen, if you're watching this podcast and you attended APSU between 2012 and 2014, Linwood Campus Church to be precise, I was a keyboardist. Linwood Campus Church was the biggest. Yes. At that basic university too, within that period. And I was a keyboardist that held it down for that period. At some point, I had to coordinate the instrumentalists. We were made up of instrumentalists, not just from Nigeria, but from Ghana. So I had a mix. Right? My lead vocalist back then, Uwaezuoke, Love You right now, I think it was a Nigerian Idol she appeared or so, but she's doing very well in Lagos. Her younger sister, I can't remember her name right now, she also was on Nigerian Idol. Akuna, right? Akuna was a Nigerian Idol. Akuna was like my baby girl in APSU. She was Nigerian Idol. She got, I think, to the finals or so, last three. So music is the other side to me. I was born into a music family. My both parents were choristers. And then my dad plays the bass guitar. My mom used to sing. My younger brother plays the piano very well. He's an amazing drummer as well. In Lagos, has done sounds with alternate sounds, the caveman. He has quite, stuff on him. So it's another side to me that you might want to unveil, which I think I should really work on. After now, it will be music, because I love playing the piano. It helps me express. It helps me,
So when was the last time you played the piano?
It was while I was recovering. I had a surgery recently. Yeah, so while I was recovering, the house at which I was, there's a piano in that house. And so one of the days everybody was out and I was alone. I was bored. So I went upstairs. I went up with my MP3 player, and then I had my phone. And then I just played along to the songs and stuff. And funny part again, nobody taught me how to play. I learned on my own.
Wow.
So I started playing from my days in the secondary school. Oh yes, if you also attended the Avenger Seminary, Abba. I was the keyboardist back then, 2007, 2008, 2009. Okay, let me say, no. I had gone to university by 2008. So it was 2006, 2007. And it was so wonderful that my seniors would not punish me back then, because if you punish me, I won't play for you during your boys' day. Or your girls' day. So music is the other side to me, yeah? But no, not too many persons are aware.
Wow. Huh. So if I hadn't really asked this question, maybe we just think it's just the law and the broadcasting. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm so excited that this happens to be the first platform you're really expressing.
Yeah, this is the first time I am saying this, at least to the people I know today, as those who follow through, the fans and stuff. This is the first time I'm making it open, yes.
Wow. All right, so let's dive a deeper into the media space, which you're doing so well. I mean, you tend to be amongst the leading broadcasters we have right here in Port Harcourt that is doing so well, that are really not just doing so well, but impacting lives. All right. So there's this particular complaint, right? That we so many persons, because most times I do tune into your programs, and what I really love about your programs is the fact that a lot of person tends to vent. They see it as another opportunity to to vent, and when they do this, it's for me, it's the cruise for me, right? Okay. And then I just get to hear some person say, no, no, allow person just talk, and you just bim, they call, they call the line, right? And I've heard my dad say something like, it seems these people they play politics. They will allow some set of persons to, have enough airtime, and some other person not have enough airtime. And I was like, okay, I think I need to ask Excel this on the podcast. And this brings me to the next question. Why? Now, some listeners say certain caller seems to get more airtime, and almost as if there's a personal connection with this. So, is it fair, or does it challenge the professionalism of the show?
Let me start by saying that Excel and Wave FM are two very professional entities, right? What we do to one, we do to all. The most I can do is to try to tell your name from your voice. I try to get personal with you to that effect, and to that extent, sorry. And I don't do that to just one person. There are a number of persons, even a first-time caller. I could guess, like you're a first-time caller, I've not heard of yours before. You get now. The regulation is simple. If you call in on We Motivate, for instance, which I handle at 5:30 a.m. weekdays, you have 1 minute and 15 seconds. You don't extend. I don't extend for anybody unless you're giving me a breaking story, like something just happened, an eyewitness report per se. If you're calling on Daybreak Headlines, it's 1 minute for your call. Not anything extra. And they know. Port Harcourt knows. Nigeria knows. Even those who listen online from outside the country, they know. If you call in on the eyewitness report, I give you time depending on the veracity and the depth of your story. If your report is such that you're just repeating yourself, I'll tell you to please allow us to hear from others. But if your report is such that there are a lot of connecting stories to the main story, I need to get all those connections as well. So that whatever anyone listening that would act on the information you've given can pick up, the person picks up 100%, or let's say 90 or 99. Because if I let you go at the first 2-3 sentences, I have lost what I need. But to say we politic with it, I'll say no. If it's for the newbies on radio, maybe wanting to buy favors, but we've come quite a distance. The vision is always on our minds. That's why I mentioned Wave FM. Wave FM for me is a standard. We're not just a radio station, we're a standard, right? So that standard is not one that looks at faces. It doesn't matter who you are. We could smile outside the studio and I get on air and you call up. You have to keep to time. It's the regulation. It's who we are, and that's why we're tops in Rivers State and in Nigeria today. Yeah.
Okay. So now this brings me to the next question. In a city as politically charged as ours, River State, how can a young media personality rise without risking perceived bias or politically affiliated? Because I feel like there's so many up and coming media persons who are looking up to you and I am to some other big shots in the media space, and some of them want to really climb the stairs of success just as you have led. And if for some reason most of them want to sit in that position, how would they really get there without some persons feeling like, this person seems like an APC person, this person seems like a PDP person based off the way he or she presents a particular information on radio?
The first thing I should say is that I belong to the people, right? I belong to the people, and the people are found in every political party. People are found in APC, PDP, LP, APP, ZLP, all of them, AA. They are everywhere. So if I have a bias towards all of them. You get. But to create the balance here, I have to stay objective. So if there's a party that I owe my allegiance to, the party that is with the people, and that party is known as the masses, I owe my allegiance to the masses, right? So when I speak, if I have any soft spot, if I have any delving, it's towards the people. You know why? Because when I leave that studio, the president I talked about, the governor I talked about, they don't know me. Even if they know me, I have no personal relationship with them. Even if I do, it has no bearing on the job. The people who I have a first-hand accountability report to will be the masses, right? So it's me and the masses. It doesn't, however, take away the fact that I've been accused before of being bankrolled by these men, in these parties. I have friends in the APC, PDP, you name them. I have these persons as friends, and even those are not party members. And I've been accused. Why? This is what plays out. Someone from the opposition calls in and wants to air a view that many times is propaganda than factual. And I stop you in your tracks. And then you say, Excel, PDP is sponsoring you, APC is sponsoring you, and the rest of that. Wonderful. Let's not forget, man by nature is political. Right? So these political parties are simply ideologies that have found an expression amongst a group of persons who hold the same beliefs and are going for the same targets. Okay. That's what political parties stand for, so far as I'm concerned. So what ideology is it that is closest to the people? Right? Where you have majority of persons saying, we want this. And the OAP on air is like, okay, that's nice. It seems to be an aggregate of people's beliefs. Someone who says no will tag that OAP as being on the part of the opposition. Yeah. So that's basically what plays out. And maybe I should mention for the first time, I had to serve honorarily as an SA to the governor of Abia State, the immediate past governor of Abia State. Right? And again, I dare anybody to go check. It didn't stop me from carrying out my job very, very objectively. Shifted nothing. Like I said, this is the first time I'm saying it. So very many persons were not aware. Right? And are still not aware. So it shows that if you know what you're doing, your affiliations take nothing away. You are there to serve the people. So serve the people, whatever parties they belong to. They can go and discuss your positions eventually. In fact, you don't even have a position in the first place. The position should still be helping the people to find a common ground to achieve what's best and what's good for them.
Okay. Yeah. So I haven't heard you, juggle both jobs. Let's now go back to how you manage to, do these things. Because for so many persons, it's almost like it's impossible, because this is basically a career someone can just focus on and just say, okay, I want to be a broadcaster, and this should carry me throughout my life on earth. Some other person might say, yeah, I want to be a lawyer, and this should see me through my life journey on earth. But you're doing the both and still striking a balance. And now this brings me to ask you, what has been your toughest challenges or your toughest challenge in the course of juggling the both? And how did you tend to, balance it? How do you tend to, make it work at the end of the day?
My toughest challenge has been time. Time, because the good book says there's time for everything. Okay. Right? And I start my day typically at 3:30 a.m. That's when I wake late. Else my day starts at 3 a.m. and runs till 11 p.m. Yeah. That's my day. So I have a lot to do. And I seem to have very little time to do it. At some point, I joked to the option of having a manager. But I don't think I'm there yet. Maybe I'll get there someday, So being able to manage time, and the two, like you rightly pointed out, are very, very demanding. I need to look at briefs. I need to sometimes have ADL sessions. Sometimes I have to go out for trainings. We just finished a training with law school students not too long ago. We have another one coming up very soon. That's with the Mediation Place. For Wave FM, of course, you know what it is. It's an everyday thing for me. I am also head of programs and events for Wave FM. So all programs on Wave FM have to pass through me. All events on Wave FM have to pass through me. So the demands are there, partnerships are there, external deals are coming in, external events are seeking partnership. I have to deal with those as well, report to my boss. When it comes to the other side, I also have a boss I need to report to. So for me, time is everything, because there are moments when I have 2 meetings on both sides and they almost clash. But thank heavens I have some of the best bosses ever. Yes. For the Mediation Place, I have Barrister Mrs. Gloria here. She's an amazing woman. For radio, I have Mr. Rex Igiri. He is a broadcaster that is unequaled as far as I'm concerned. And these two have been able to go beyond. I built a relationship with them that's gone beyond just yes sir or yes ma. They've also come to appreciate my drive in life, and the fact that if I had 26 hours against 24, I also give it to making sure that the both concerns are doing very well. So for Mr. Rex, I've worked with him for about 10 years on 2 different radio stations. For Brighton is here, we're doing about our 4th year together, 3rd or 4th year together. So for me, time is a challenge, but I'm trying my very best to be on the go. What I do right now is I try to itemize my itinerary for the day, like check it out on my phone, make my calls, do what I have to do, catch up with what I have to catch up with. For those I cannot, I should be polite enough to say I'm sorry I couldn't meet up. And above all, still find time to rest. That's why on Saturdays I hardly go out. Saturdays I stay back home. I know that Port Harcourt has a lot of events on Saturdays, but I skip those. And then for Sunday events, if it's not in the afternoon, I will not attend because I need to rest for Monday. Because Monday, it's back to the grind. And I so love the job. I hate misinformation with passion. So when I have to stay up very early to prepare for my show by 6:30 a.m., which is the one everybody knows, the debate headline segment, I give it my all. I do it with some deep passion. It's like an assignment I owe the people. I owe humanity. Let me bring you the truth as it is. I don't want to mince words. I don't want to go with hearsay. So it takes me many hours. For the papers I'll use tomorrow, I've started preparations right now. Before this interview session, I had to go through my phone. What's the latest story? What's the latest, developing story and all of that? What's the breaking story? Follow up on all of those because I want to give the very best. But I was doing that while in court. I was at the probate registry, right? So I just have no idea to balance both of them. Half time for this, half time for that. Sometimes marry the both of them and still deliver. So I don't have an excuse.
So this means it's safe for us to say that you are successful in both careers, right?
I do not want to say.
No, it's a yes or a no question now.
Elvis, that's a tricky question.
I've not even asked the question. I just want to drop. I'm headed somewhere.
Yeah, okay, let's have you get there first.
No, it's safe to say you're successful in both, right?
I don't think I'm doing badly.
All right, now there's this adage that says behind every successful man there is a woman. So I want to go a bit personal. So this means that for you to really keep this grind 100 and you're really giving it your best and you're seeing the result that yes, your best, that means there's somebody behind you who is solidly supporting you. Because just as you're saying it, I don't think anybody can actually fit in those shoes of yours and still, stay this healthy. Because first off, you would, bro, if you know what I'm saying, right? Because I know what it means to be a broadcaster. I know what it means to gather news, gather reports, gather information, and try to put it out there in the best possible way that whoever listens to it can really digest it peacefully without, thinking around. And at the same time, represent some persons, even if it's not in court, but hear some ADRO sections with people and all of that. It's a lot, right? And you can't tell me that you're doing all of this without, getting somebody who is supporting you, cheering you up. Because there are days you get home and you be like, guy, today is the worst. And you need that. You need somebody to lean on. You need somebody to walk you through. I don't know if you get my point. So, so therefore, who is this person? Because we need to know. It's very important. Yes, sir.
Okay, first of all, I want to take you back to the question you asked before this about being successful. Truth is that I have targets I have not hit yet.
I know you're not going to do this.
Yeah, I have targets I've not hit yet, and that's why I was going to answer that question directly. I've succeeded at the little I think I have done, because for me, I still think I have not started.
Well, the little you feel you have done or the little you feel you have achieved happens to be like a lot for some person.
Fine, thanks be to God for them, but for me, I think there's still a lot to cover. That's one. Now, let me answer your question on the other one. There are two women who are very special to me right now. Okay. Yes. One of them, I'm actually wearing her wrapper. It used to be her wrapper. Yeah. And that's my late mom. Yes. She passed on in 2016 after being ill for 14 years. Yeah. Her period of sickness was a training for me and my younger brother on getting through life and not just surviving. Learning the key lessons, And I'll dare mention her name on this podcast because, Mama, if you didn't do a good job, I'll not be on a podcast in the first place. This is my first podcast, by the way. Yes. So, late Mrs. Comfort and colleague Uwaezuoke, she was my mom. She is my mom. Okay. Yeah. So she's the first woman who drives me every time. I have a portrait of her at home in my parlor. So many days I walk into the house and I look straight at that portrait, and I see the seriousness on her face, and I say, "Mom, I'm not doing badly." So she's my babe. She's my first go-to. Anybody that knows me knows that I don't joke with her. Even in death, she's still my everything. That's one. Secondly, I want to specially say that I have a special boss at the mediation place. Oh yes, think about who drives me, right? Okay. She pushes me beyond my limits. some person misunderstand, and please, thank you, keep misunderstanding it. It's really helping me actually, to stay afloat. you know, yes, she is a woman that drives you much more than certain men will. So I really think many men see you as a competition, but very few of them will be very honest with you. Because if you ask me what man drives, I'll mention my dad and then perhaps my GM at Wave FM. So I'm not going there. Women, my mother, and Barrister Mrs. Gloria here. She's phenomenal. She's amazing. She knows how to take even my seeming strongest points and turn them to paper and say to me, "Nah, you've not." She said, "Nah, you've not started." I'm like, "Man, what's this?" No, you've not started. Go redo that. She can really drive me to my wits end. But at the end of the day, I sit back and I say, "Thank you, ma'am, for being an amazing person." So, if there are women right now, those are the two women.
Yeah. So yeah, first of all, I would really want to say this. With the soul of your mother and the souls of all the faithful
Yeah.
departed, they rest in peace.
Amen.
And for what is what, um, it's very difficult for you to see some persons, especially to those whose bosses are female. They come out in public and give accolades like this to their bosses. I mean, not just giving accolades, but still be fair to the bosses as their driving force.
Yes.
It's a lot. You barely see some persons. They might be some persons, but they're just a very few. Just a very few. And this shows that your boss, she's amazing. Big shout out to you, Mrs. Gloria. Big shout out to you. And before we wrap the show off, I'd have to drop in one last question. What should we expect from Mr. Excel Uwaezuoke?
You're learning.
Please forgive me. What should we expect? Because we certainly know that the year is already come to an end. What should we be expecting? I might not just be surprised you drop an album since you're already juggling the third the third career. So let us know what we should expect from you.
I spoke with Mr. Too Much, the guy that did the query to the world, and my wife say, spoke with Mr. Too Much, and I told him I want us to do a concert. It's not the big kind of stuff. Just something indoor, and I just want to play, and people know that I play as well. Not because I need anything from anybody. I just want to express myself in public. I love high life. He does high life. Lai is another Port Harcourt-based artist that does high life. I don't know where Lai is right now, but it's been a while. Maybe I'll call you after the show. But Lai does high life as well, and that's another guy I want to have, do stuff with. I just want to have this seating of mature minds, and we just play and gist, take palm wine, bushmeat, and stuff. That's one. No birthday of mine since 2022 has been marked without my being intentional about what I'm doing for those out there. In 2022, we sold fuel for more than half the price. Yeah, we did that, and it was an amazing outing. I met taxi drivers I never knew used to listen to my shows. Pictures are there on my Instagram account and Facebook. And then last year, I was at BMH. I went to see my birthday mates, right? I took toiletries and stuff to babies who were born on the 26th of December, which is on my birthday as well. So they're my birthday mates. I had to go welcome them, to the club. So for me, if it's about this year, I just want to end this year good, right? The music thing may or may not happen. I don't know. I'm not very certain on that yet. But I know that right now the vision has not dropped, but it will certainly drop what I'm meant to do to wrap the year up. I am happy I was born in December because it helps me end my year properly. So for me, the new year begins 27th of December. While you guys wait for the 1st of January. So that's about the vibe around that. But can I ask a question?
Of course, feel free.
Elvis, you're doing something that many will say, what's in this thing for this guy? We've heard about persons who've done real successful podcasts, and we have the likes of Gigi Donwo, we have some of that great guys, we have Bayu as well, who's being funny with his stuff. Let me ask, you have this really undying drive for being expressive, even if it looks as if it's a tough niche. How do you keep going?
I just keep going.
You just keep going. Like you get up every day and you just keep going.
I just keep going, honestly, because I feel like where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
Port Harcourt here, there's like a lot of creatives that needs to be heard, but everybody is just tilting towards one direction.
Which is
The music, they feel like the music happens to be the only niche which they can actually express themselves, and then leave the most important thing, which happens to be the body itself, which is the media. If you look at the media space right here in Port Harcourt, you barely find people in their teens around the media. You only see the bloomers, and you won't even find the Gen Zs right in Port Harcourt here.
yeah, they're busy twerking.
So exactly, they just feel it ends in TikTok and Snapchat. But the real deal is this: if we have a good number of persons who are very intentional about pushing Port Harcourt, pushing our crafts out there, they'll balance. It's certainly going to strike a balance, and then you can now say that we have a competitive market that we can actually put in the surface that can stand with Lagos. But right now, everybody is just one-sided. So I just feel like maybe I could just lend in my 1%.
It's much more than 1% because what you're doing, what your brand is doing, is to give a new lease of life to what we do in Port Harcourt here. You know how it is that an OAP goes on air, is done talking and leaves, and the person feels all exhausted. Nobody's saying you've done well, But your brand is coming out to say to us that what we see others enjoy out there, we can have it back home. I, for one, I am very camera shy. I don't even know how many times I've looked at the camera, But I'm doing it because it's you. I'm doing it because you're doing something that many persons are yet to appreciate. And I know a couple of persons in Port Harcourt who are beginning to buy into the vision. But I should say for sure that this is the start of something new, it's the start of something good. And you have my support 1,001%. As the issues arise, we will still discuss further, And to you watching, this is one podcast series that you should not miss for anything in the whole wide world. Topics treated here, top notch. And if any guest is here, that guest is worth your data. So just chill. Rather than go watch that other stuff and watch the guy from, is it Kenya or where? Where's the guy from? That Equatorial Guinea, right? I intentionally refuse to. I refuse to carry any of his stories on any of my segments. Yeah, I was very intentional about that because I don't know how a man can be so inhuman and then marry another wife who is also inhuman, and the both of them are trying to break Solomon's record. So rather than watch that crap on Telegram, just relax, save your data, right? Roll with Elvis. He's got a lot of great stuff to present and to put out there. And like I said, this is just the beginning. There's a lot more to come. Keep watching.
All right. Thank you so much for making our time to do this with us. I really, really appreciate it. Of course, you've heard it from the horses. You are if you're still sticking with us, there's a lot more coming up after the show. But before I let him go, where can we follow you up? I believe you're on social media because there's certainly going to be a lot of persons who wants to reach out to you, but probably don't know how. So your handles will certainly act as a guide to reaching out to you, because right now there's like a lot of persons who want to impersonate your account. So it's better you give us the exact one for people to follow. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, to follow me, you must know that I'm an Abia man. I'm from Isochi, Nomunochi, LGA. Yeah, I'm on the Isochi to be precise. Yeah. Proud Igbo man. My mom used to be from Nnewi in Anambra State. So I need to give you all these things. So when to follow me, make up your mind. Right? Now I'm a Nigerian. Good. Then we can now come to the others. Facebook at excel_u. X app at excel_u. Same for Instagram and Threads. Basically, those. Then I am on LinkedIn as well. Of course, you use my full names. You find me right there. Excel Uwaezuoke. Uwaezuoke. Definitely. You will find me right there. Follow me if you want. If you don't want, still follow me. Because anyway, God will still keep blessing PDAPC. Nice. Thank you, guys.
I saw what you did there. All right, now you know where and how to follow him up, but don't forget, do what to follow him. You can follow him up on all social media platforms, and of course, don't forget to stick with his shows every day.
Every weekday, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. till 9 a.m. The grand jury. I forgot to mention, this interview is not your common kind of interview. Now, I run the only human rights program on radio in Rivers State and the South South. I dare say, it's the grand jury. We discuss legal issues, human rights issues. So join me every Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 12. We have discussions around human rights on radio, anchored by the only lawyer on radio in Rivers State. Right now, go check. Yeah.
Now, you know, when we talk about bringing you the best, this is just a tip of an iceberg. There's still a lot. There's still a lot. But trust me, this is one of the best.
We're getting better per day. We're getting better per day, yeah?
All right, so at this junction, I'll be joining the curtain close. And of course, don't forget to follow us up on all social media platforms at Tepoctv. And yes, do want to follow me as well on all social media platforms at Elvis Vitalis. Until I come your way on the next segment of the Let's Talk Show on Tepoctv, it is a wrap. Bye for now.